gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's August the 22nd, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented by Life Wallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, I know a bunch of happy guys. I can tell you about 85 of them who are waking up this morning and thrilled to death because they don't have practice. Now, I can't promise you they're all thrilled to death that they have to go to class today, but the Canes have survived Mario Cristobal training camp, which is no easy feat, folks. Let me tell you something. We're talking about being busy from dawn until well past dusk. I mean, these kids have been going from like 6 a.m. to like 10 o'clock at night. It was a 2-week mission to become a good football team. We'll start to see the results of it here in a couple of weeks. But Matt, they had scrimmage number 2 on Saturday afternoon, I guess it was. And I guess we could call it like a midterm exam. I mean, I know it was like the conclusion to training camp. So in that sense, it was a final exam. But they do still have 2 weeks of practice before they play a game. So there'll be the continuation of that. So we'll call it a midterm exam. But from all accounts that we've received, I mean, it sounds like the defense once again ruled. And it's going to be a common theme you're going to hear us talking about. I wrote a column partially about that. That's on the website this morning about how the defense has really emerged here in training camp to be better probably than what everybody thought they were going to be. And it's the offense that's sort of having a lot of ups and downs. But, man, I don't know. Like, I think people are going to have to adjust a little bit in how they view the team. But I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing that the defense, is dominating the day a little bit.
Well, it's good and bad. In the fall and the spring, it's always good and bad. If one side's doing well, the other side's not doing well. I'm not sure. Look, the defensive line is going to be better. The middle linebacker will be better. The secondary was already really good and should be one of the best units in the ACC. So the defense should be better. My concern and I posted this on the message board last week. I said, call me crazy, but am I actually thinking the defense might be better than the offense at Miami this year? And if I said something like that a month ago, I would have told people to ban watching me on Good Morning CaneSport. It's crazy talk. I think it's true. From what I've heard, just from talking to different people, and look, I know Miami doesn't want any information from the scrimmages getting out that's meaningful. They don't even want us to say what players are doing, whatever. So I'm not going to say much. But what I will say, from what I've heard, is the first team defense is having its way and has had its way all fall, except for the one open practice that we saw, has had its way with the offense. The receivers continue to drop balls at an alarming rate. I had someone very close to the team tell me yesterday that it's getting worse. And he's very concerned because this isn't what should happen. It's okay the first week to drop some passes. It's okay the first scrimmage to drop some passes. It's not okay with the first game 2 weeks away to not have gotten better and to have maybe even taken a step backward. There was a couple of touchdowns.
Let me ask you a question real quick. We're out there every day. Have you seen one time so far this fall the jugs machine out and guys getting extra reps just catching footballs?
No. So here's my thing, and I was talking with another person about this yesterday also. To me, there's a reason why your offensive coordinator should be your quarterback's coach. Because when you have this kind of a problem in the receivers room with a depth issue, with drops issues, so much attention, that's an area you cannot fail in with a quarterback named Tyler Van Dyke. So much attention has to go into fixing that and making sure that it doesn't get worse, that it gets better every single day. Add the 1% every day. Don't drop 1% every day. I shouldn't use the word drop with the receivers. Don't go down 1% every day.
But maybe they're not owning it enough.
Say it again.
Maybe they're not owning it enough.
Who's
Maybe
they?
maybe they're not working hard enough at it.
Oh yeah. Listen, I happen to know what schedule they're going through every day. They're working plenty hard. So here's my issue. To me, and I said this previously. I said Manny Diaz should not be a head coach, defensive coordinator, and I think the best place for an offensive coordinator is to be the quarterback's coach. I understand Josh Gaddis has a thing for wide receivers. I get it. But when you're the quarterback's coach and the offensive coordinator, right, you're seeing every single play because you're with the quarterbacks every single play. We watch Josh Gaddis. He's with the receivers only the receivers for the entire practice that we see. And I'm sure there's parts 11 on 11. Of course, he sees all of that. But the quarterback's coach sees every rep with the running backs, every single rep with the wide receivers, and 11 on 11, and 7 on 7. And he doesn't have to split his time like that. You can call timeout all you want, Gary. I just want to be clear.
I just want to be clear. So Matt Shodell is suggesting that receivers are dropping balls because Josh Gaddis is distracted running the whole offense.
You don't listen at all. I said because he now has to spend so much time fixing this issue in the receivers room, I don't want his attention taken away from his offensive coordinator
running the whole offense. Okay, that's what I was just
That's exactly what I said. I mean, I don't know what you heard.
I just wanted to clarify what you were saying.
I clarified it. What I previously said was clarified plenty for the normal person who listens to what I speak. When my mouth opens, they listen to what I say. Because what you said had nothing.
Well, it just sounded like you were saying that the receivers dropping all these balls is because Josh Gaddis is running the whole offense and isn't just focused on the receivers.
No, that's not what I said. That's you reading into something. But listen, he's got to get it fixed, and he's got to get the plays, installed and make sure everyone in the entire offense is on the same page at the same time. It's a lot, man. I mean, I don't know that it's doable, quite frankly, at this point, because we've seen him try to do it for 2 weeks. And yeah, the offense is being installed, but the fact that here's what I heard. I'm not going to do specifics again, but 2 drop passes in the end zone, other drop passes throughout. You got the second team offense actually looked really good against the second team defense. Even the running game with the backups, they used a walk-on who had more long runs in this scrimmage than the scholarship guys did in the scrimmage and a half. I don't know why that should be or why that is. I'm not saying this running back is not great or anything.
It might have just happened that way.
Yeah, exactly. He's not great. Sorry. I mean, I'm just going to tell the truth. He's a walk-on for a reason. But, and they'll try to add, I think you posted, they're going to try to add a running back out of the portal, which is, that's the desperation. Thaddeus Franklin, like I said, I posted on the message board last week. Thaddeus Franklin was lining up with the ones ahead of Jalen Knighton and ahead of Parrish in the last scrimmage that we were allowed to watch in the beginning of practice. He was the first team.
Well, it's important. They got to make sure Jalen Knighton makes it to the season. They're not going to. He may not practice contact again.
Listen, I get it,
and I wouldn't play him against Bethune-Cookman either.
Henry Parrish could have lined up in front. This was just walkthrough type stuff, Gary. This was when they come out. Here's the depth chart for today. Like that's who was in front. And they know how badly they need Thaddeus Franklin to come through now because they don't have a power back. I know Jalen Knighton says he'll drive 300-pound defensive linemen backwards every time running up the middle. That's his strength. That's what he told us.
I give Thaddeus Franklin the Bethune game for sure, and I might even give him game 2.
Listen, Thaddeus Franklin isn't explosive as other guys. He's not a fast downhill runner, but he is a downhill runner, and he's the only downhill runner they have right now. And I don't know what you do. I don't know what you can find in the portal. I know some people have posted some names on our message boards, but remember, everybody out there, they have to have whoever this is out of the portal enrolled August 31st, which means they have to identify him in the next day or 2, get him, I don't know, on a visit, whatever, get his transcripts in, get him approved to be enrolled in school, and then enroll him within a 9-day period or whatever it is. I didn't do the math. I think 9 or 10 days. That's not that easy. And on top of that, this is going to be a running back who every other school's already passed on because the guys who are left in the portal right now, there's just too many guys that went in and everyone plucked the guys they wanted out of there. And these are guys who just had no place to go. And they're just in limbo. They have no school.
You just need a scout team running back out of the portal. You just need a guy that can help you in practice and, throw them a little.
That's not what you need. That's not what you need. That's what they're going to get.
Yeah,
that's not what they need. Let's be clear.
Well, but what they need, they're not going to be able to get. You're not going to get a marquee franchise running back out of the portal 2 weeks before the start of the season.
So Gary, just to be clear, though, this is the Gary Ferman system, right? You'll take a sophomore who's just a scout team guy, nice guy, and then you jettison him after a year and end his career, right?
No, you don't think I'd say a sophomore? You take a senior.
That's what I want to ask you. You will only take a senior right now.
Absolutely.
If it's not a senior, sorry.
You take a senior, you throw him $10,000 of NIL money or whatever, and let him come be a scout team running back for the year.
Okay.
Because you can't use these other guys. If you need these guys with the team now.
So all of a sudden, Gary Ferman is saying the numbers won't just magically work out eventually. You don't just take the best player. Now all of a sudden, only take a senior because he's not going to be good enough. Kill his career.
To the rule, man. I mean,
you're not flip flopping your pancakes, Gary. You sure?
No, this is desperation. Okay, and I thought initially that they would move Brashard Smith to running back, but it sounds like they are so concerned with what's going on at receiver that they don't want to take Brashard Smith out of the receiver room because he is one of their potential big play guys at receiver.
And he's also the exact same thing you already have. You don't need 3 Jalen Knightons in the backfield. If you want to run a jet sweep, I mean, you can do it with Brashard, but there's no point in lining him up at running back and taking him out of the game as a receiver when you have 2 guys who are equally explosive already in the backfield. The running back situation is not dire. Let's be clear. Henry Parrish and Jalen Knighton are going to be excellent running backs. There's just
and Thad Franklin.
Yeah, Thaddeus Franklin's going to be.
Well, he's number 3, but if you have those 3 guys, you're still okay.
Listen, Knighton and Henry Parrish are 5.0 yard per carry type guys because they're going to break explosive runs. Thaddeus Franklin's a 3.8 yard per carry guy, which is okay because you need some of those on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, 3rd and 2. You need a guy like that. But is he a guy that I want to see get 15 or 20 carries a game for 80 yards? No, I don't want to see that. So again, it comes down to Josh Gaddis. Just he doesn't have any time to figure it out because he's the receivers coach, Gary. So he can't figure out who should run the ball, right? That's not what I said. Okay, that is not what I said. Gary wants you to think that's what I said. I did not say that.
All right. So, any other tidbits left over from the scrimmage?
Well, I mean, you got your sources too, and I have my sources.
I mean, I heard the defense continuation of what we've seen on camp.
First team defense is what I heard.
Yeah,
only first team. I heard the defensive line is outstanding. But again, I don't know if I should be concerned about the offensive line then. This is what sucks about the fall. When one side's doing great and you know that the offensive line has struggled the last couple of years, you start thinking, the line's going to be better. We know they added some guys who should be better on paper, but is the offensive line going to hold up? And if the offensive line doesn't hold up and the receivers are dropping passes and not getting open, hopefully this is the best secondary in the ACC because the receivers are not getting open again. And when they are, they're dropping the ball. So now you lost your 2 running backs who were the power backs. You have a great quarterback. Is that enough? Can a great quarterback function in an offense that's sort of having some piecemeal issues at every other position except tight end right now? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I know almost everything in the world except for this answer. That's the truth.
Let's get these guys healthy to College Station on September 17th, and let's see what it looks like then. Because everyone's always optimistic before the season. I don't play Jalen Knighton or Henry Parrish week 1. That's the Thaddeus Franklin CJ Perry show. I don't put those 2 guys in the Bethune-Cookman game for sure. Southern Miss would be the first time they see action, and it wouldn't be a ton of it. So we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. But it's a shame that they ran into this little injury issue at running back. But now they have to manage it, and I'm sure Mario will have a plan.
Yeah. So. And I heard. I can't mention names. I heard the backup quarterback looked good. I heard that there was a starting receiver who everybody said is doing well all fall, continues to do well. I can't name names, Gary. Can't name names. No one's going to know who I'm talking about. So, it's a pretty safe thing to say.
All right. So other stories on the website this morning. You can go back through our coverage of the weekend. We've got, stuff from the scrimmage. we took a look. Some people got annoyed by the subject. I apologize, but we did take a look. Is James Williams better suited as a safety or a linebacker? It could go either way, in my opinion. It's just something that they're going to have to figure out going forward. I think we're going to see plenty of him in the box anyway, so it might even be a moot point at this point. We had post-practice stories over the weekend from Mario Cristobal, Tyler Van Dyke, Jake Garcia, Jalen Rivers, Tyreek Stevenson, so you guys can catch up on all of that. And today, Matt, we also take a look at Tyler Van Dyke, who's getting a little disrespected, I think, by different people around the country. There's people suggesting that he's not even the best quarterback in the ACC, maybe the fourth best quarterback in the ACC. But, then you look at some of the early draft projections, and he is projected as a late first-round pick, mid to late first-round draft pick. So he does get a little respect there. Some people think he'll be higher than that by the end of the year. That remains to be seen. What are your thoughts? Is Tyler Van Dyke getting his fair due from people around the country?
It's interesting because when I first saw and we base this on an ACC digital network video where they ranked the quarterbacks. If you just asked me, I didn't research every other quarterback in the ACC. Apparently they did because they're the ACC network. So when I looked up these other stats of these guys who were ahead of Tyler Van Dyke, I can understand why maybe they would put him fourth. And you can certainly make an argument that he should be fourth. But with that said, you have to remember, he wasn't like these other three quarterbacks. Those other three quarterbacks ahead of him played the entire season. Tyler Van Dyke basically had no preseason to prepare. He had a spring in which he was sharing first-team reps because Derek King was out. But in the fall, he was the backup the whole time, didn't get much, if any, really first-team reps in the fall. And then all of a sudden, Derek King's out for the year, and they're thrown into the mix. He and Jake split a game, and then all of a sudden he's thrown in against two tough defenses and really struggled. So you got to throw those first two games almost out the window. And then after he got his feet wet in those first two games, I think he looked as good as any quarterback in the nation over those final games. I mean, he didn't have great pass protection. He threw from all different arm angles like a Patrick Mahomes. He just had a knack for sensing pressure. I mean, he did things in his first year starting as whatever he was, a redshirt freshman, that you can't coach those things. And he made every throw, and he had touch on his deep ball, and there was nothing into it. He ran the offense efficiently. He knew what he was doing, and he executed everything perfectly, in my opinion, for the most part. So I don't know that you should say he's fourth in the ACC. I think you could say he's fourth in the country. And if you look at the Heisman polls, I think he is the fourth or fifth quarterback in the country. So personally, I would argue that, despite the stats, which I think the ACC network just went off stats, and this guy had 39 total touchdowns, this guy had 38, whatever. I mean, you have to throw a little bit out the window. And I think Tyler's right there, number one or number two in the ACC. Personally, that's just
they're also trying to hype the ACC as the conference of quarterbacks, which you can make the argument. There's some pretty good quarterbacks. The thing that I'm expecting is because there are some pretty good quarterbacks, I think you're going to see teams like Wake Forest and Virginia, maybe win some games that surprise people this year. Because
I told you Virginia's my surprise team. I think they're going to be decent.
Yeah, because of the quarterback play. If the good quarterbacks create a lot of problems for teams. So as everybody knows. So anyway, so I think they're trying to market the ACC as the conference of quarterbacks, and then maybe Tyler Van Dyke becomes a little bit of a victim of that. But you know what? At the end of the day, who cares? What does it matter? Let people project where he's going to be all they want. All that's going to matter is what happens on the field. And in terms of Tyler Van Dyke, to me, the biggest issue is, can he produce the kind of season this year that will allow him to fulfill his goal of going into the National Football League? Or are we sitting here in December and January saying Tyler Van Dyke might need to get $1 million NIL deal to stay at Miami another year? And we don't know the answer to that yet. We'll have to see how the season plays out. But when you don't have receivers that can get the ball down the field, I don't know how you put up 6 straight 300-yard games like he did last year. So we'll see.
And you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't will Miami, it's will anybody give him more NIL money than he'll make in the NFL. That's the problem with NIL right now.
Oh, it won't be more than he'll make in the NFL, but if it looks like he could benefit from coming back a year, which Justin Herbert did for Mario Cristobal at Oregon, and it worked out. He ended up, a high first-round draft pick, and is now one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And I'm sure that example will be kind of off here to the side to present to Tyler Van Dyke if that becomes the case. Like, hey, if you're going to be a late-round draft pick, we will give you $1 million, and you will get a insurance policy to come back, play one more year, improve your stock. We'll have better receivers this year. We got Ray Joseph coming in, and Washington coming in, and then they'll have others, and we're gonna have better players at receiver. You'll be able to have a bigger season. You'll put up good numbers, and you'll be a top 10 pick. And when you become a top 10 pick, your first contract will be worth $20 million more than your contract will be worth right now if you're a late first round pick. Those are the kind of things that would take place if that were the case. But right now we don't know how the season's going to play out.
It's not just a late round pick; it could be a second round pick, and second rounders don't make what first rounders make, right?
No, and there's a difference between the top 10 picks in the first round and the lower.
That's what I'm saying. So while you're saying Miami, what I'm saying is if he's not where he thinks he can be, it'll be open season for any school that needs a top quarterback to offer him ridiculous amounts of money. This is what's so stupid about NIL. And if John Reed says he won't match other offers or whatever, he just has a number he thinks is worth it for his company, that's not going to be great for Miami. So these are questions and things that fans have never had to think about before, and I wish I didn't have to think about now. And I know people don't like us talking about NIL all the time, but we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet. People already think, this is the tip of the iceberg. We haven't seen the tip of the iceberg yet, because that won't come until after the season. When you
coming in December, I agree.
When you out there see players who had great seasons, you're going to be shocked at how many players are just doing what Pitt's top receiver did, Addison. It's going to be rampant, man. Like that is going to be just commonplace eventually. Just your guy had a great year on your team, so how much you offer him? Who else is going to bid money for him? And then that's going to be the news that everyone's covering is, USC just offered him this. Oregon just offered that. Will Miami match it? Whatever. I don't know, in particular the schools, but these are going to be the stories that are going to be out there in December, January, February, leading up to spring practice.
Yep.
Well, not February, because they have to enroll in January, but December and January, you're going to see a lot of that.
All right, we got a few more stories to talk about before we go, but first let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
Hey, Jordan, are you feeling all right?
Hey, you sure you good?
Hey man, how you feeling?
I feel really dizzy.
Do you have LifeWallet?
I do have LifeWallet.
Program activated.
Hey, Jordan, you all right?
Actually, I'm great because I have my LifeWallet.
All right, Matt. So, a couple other things I wanted to talk about. We've got a story this morning on five-star commit Francis Magoa. IMG played Venice in their first game this past weekend, and that meant that Francis was going head up against a kid by the name of Damon Wilson, who's one of Miami's biggest remaining targets in recruiting at the defensive end position, and they had some interesting moments with each other.
Yeah, I think it sounded to me like Damon was just more interested in just playing football, but France, it was a blowout. I don't think Damon was too happy about it, right? But you play IMG, you're going to get blown out pretty much all the time. And so Francis, the first time they went up against each other, Francis swears it wasn't premeditated, but he just started, after the play ended. And on that particular play, I will say Francis did get the better of Damon, pushed him back a bit, and the play did go to that side. But he said to Damon, he said, we need you at Miami. It's all about the U, blah, blah, blah. You can read the story for the exact quote of what he said. But how neat is that, right? I'm sure it happens quite a bit that this is just the typical trash talk, but usually they don't tell reporters, quite what they're saying and the responses and the back and forth and all that stuff. And Francis has, he's going through the whole schedule now and taking a look at which opponents they're facing that have other Miami targets, and he's going to make sure he lines up against those guys, or if it's a linebacker or a DB, I guess he's got to get to the second or the third level blocking, and then go talk to those guys. So we'll keep on updating everybody he talks to as they move their season along here.
And we also have an update with 2024 DB Jamari Howard and where his Miami recruitment stands. So make sure to check that out. We'll also this morning have a new update with Mario Cristobal, which I think everybody will like. And this week we will start introducing our player blogs. So we'll be talking more about those as the week goes forward. So a lot more to come from CaneSport.com this week as the Canes count down to the start of another season. Very exciting for all of us. So we thank you very much for starting your day out with us and making us part of your morning. And remember, if you like our show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us with the algorithms on the YouTube channel. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, we've got our new site special for you. It's just $1 for the first year. It's our gift to you guys, and we want to bring the whole fan base together. So make sure you take advantage of that here before the season starts. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you once again, and we'll see you tomorrow, everybody.